Hello, hello. Welcome to We Merge Media. This is Michael Demond here with We Merge Media, of course. And it's not Tech Talk Tuesday, but I had to go live real quick because a lot of you are kind of freaking out. All right, getting a little feedback there. So I wanted to just go live real quick and update you and talk about something that we've been talking about quite a bit lately. And that is about owning your customer. Right now, if you did not know, Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, all of those platforms are currently down because Facebook is having some sort of issue. I'm not exactly sure what it is. See different rumors about their DNS settings being hacked, and people are talking about the whistleblower thing. And there's a lot of different reasons why they could be down. But right now, tons of business owners and entrepreneurs are without that avenue to be able to connect with people. So if you've been building your business online and you have not, created something outside of that, you might be missing out on an opportunity to connect with your customers, to update people, to let them know what to do and how to get in touch with you. So this kind of goes back to why we say it's important for you to own your customer. Perfect example of that. So today I was doing a boot camp, and thank God I have my own community, my own space to be able to communicate and connect with people. But if I was depending on a Facebook Live today, I would not have been able to continue what I was doing. I was using Zoom, and I was using my own private community called bondtobuild.com to update everybody and kind of let them know what was going on. We still had our workshop. But think about if you have been busy on social media and you have been building up all of this following and likes and building reels and all that other stuff. um, yeah. And you build a customer there and you don't have the right infrastructure and you don't have the right tools in place to be able to collect people's information and all that good stuff. Right now, you could be missing out on an opportunity to be able to connect with your customers, to at least let them know what's going on and make sure people have alternate ways of communicating with you. So I wanted to jump on today and just talk a little bit about why it's important for you to own your customer. Today was the first day of our tech support boot camp, and we were talking about this very issue today. We were actually going to talk about Facebook business today and make sure people understand the role Facebook plays in your business, so that you aren't stuck in a situation like today where you're totally only dependent on Facebook and people don't have any other way to connect or reach out to you. So this is kind of stresses why it's important for you to have those email addresses, why it's important to make sure that you show up on all these different platforms. Hey, how you doing, Loretta Camp? Hey, mom, how you doing on YouTube? Yep, I'm jumping on here real quick because Facebook is down, just to talk to people about why it's important to own a space and have access to other spaces that they can connect with their customers. So imagine if you had like lives booked today or events streaming today, and you don't have any alternative. If you don't have people's email address and all that stuff to reach out to them to say, hey, Facebook is down or Instagram is down, and here's how we're going to continue on today. You could be missing out on some revenue today. So I wanted to just jump on and talk about this a little bit. First, to just make sure all of you know what's going on, and then also kind of remind you about the importance of building the right infrastructure so you can keep contact with your customer when you don't have access to the platforms like this. In our boot camp today, we're talking about some people have been locked out of the platform, and banned for whatever reason and have trouble getting back into it. But when you don't have the right platform in place and the right tools in place, you don't have an alternative method to be able to communicate and connect with people. So, you know, this is why I talk about having an email list. This is why I talk about being diversified on where you show up. I'm on YouTube right now, streaming this because I can't go on live on Facebook, of course, but I at least still have another alternative. I also still have my own private group, the bondtobuild.com group, where I can still reach out to everybody who's customers and part of my network. So as entrepreneurs, here's a perfect example of that. What impact has this had on your business, if anybody, today? I'm kind of curious. Carmen said, I'm so glad We Merge Media hooked me up with my own infrastructure. Wake up call for sure, Carmen. Like, whew, I don't think people understand why that stuff is important. But this is a perfect example, and I hate for people to have to wait till something like this happens to be like, I get it. I know why this is important. Um, let me just see. Let's talk about. I'm sending a message to everybody real quick. Just let them know I'm live here. Let's talk about this. It'll be back up, but it's honestly like it's been longer than I thought it would have been. Like I'm actually surprised. It has to be a pretty major issue in order for it to be down this long. Team bond to build. Exactly. We still got our way to be able to connect with each other. Let's talk about the impact of this on business members. So I'm just sending something out real quick to everybody who's in our Bond to Build community, because I know not everybody probably understands what's going on. Notify. All right, cool. So just sent a notification out to everybody, letting them know, Facebook is down, what they need to be doing. But we talked about this in our boot camp today, about the importance of diversifying and making sure you have other ways to stay in touch with your customers. Email marketing is definitely one of those. So, making sure that you're collecting people's email address and all that good stuff so that you can communicate with them in times like this. If any of you had Facebook Lives or any of that stuff, and, to schedule today and you don't have a way to reach out to your people, please take this as kind of like a little warning sign to make sure that you put something in place to make sure that you're collecting the data of the people who are your customers. Right now, for those who don't have that infrastructure in place, Facebook owns that customer, and without Facebook and without Instagram, even if you've built up thousands of people, it's totally irrelevant right now. I want to do a quick search and just see, like, is there any more information as to what is going on? Like, let's pull up some news clips here and see if there's any. It's funny because everybody goes to Twitter when Facebook is down, but that's what Twitter does. It's kind of like the place to go and get real time information. So if you want to know what's going on, Twitter's like that spot. Let me do my Chrome tab, Twitter. I'm just curious what people are saying is going on. Like, why? So here I am. Let's go to. And some of you may not use Twitter, so I don't post on there regularly, but I do use it for like real time updates. So like I'm more of a consumer on Twitter when I want to know what's going on. Facebook down. That seems to be what's trending. Let's see what people are saying. Why is Facebook down? What's going on? See if we can find anything here. Best part of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook is down is Twitter trolling them. Yeah, everybody's coming over to Twitter to see what is going on. So if you didn't know, Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp, like all of those things are connected. And when it comes to a problem, something like this, everything, if they have a problem with their servers or anything like that, everything tends to go down. But what I wanted to come on here and see is like, does anybody know what is going on? Let's see. Facebook's probably getting notified like crazy. We're aware that some people are having trouble accessing our apps and products. That's right. The App Store too. It's not just I forgot about the business app, the Creator Studio. Yeah. For all my creators and entrepreneurs out there, this is why you need to have alternative ways of promotion. I know Facebook is good for a lot of us because it builds up. It's good for discovery and making it easier people to find you and all that good stuff. But you don't want to build your whole business infrastructure there. What is this? We came from Instagram to see what the problem is. People are funny. The memes are going to be going totally crazy today. Like some of these are just hilarious. Messenger users, WhatsApp users, Twitter users. If you don't use Twitter, so like Twitter to me is kind of like it's really kind of like a news source for me. Let's say some of you probably be new to this, so basically this is just an app that you can download or you can use the browser like I am. But the Explore page is where you can go to kind of see what's trending and what everybody's talking about. So sometimes it's regional, but it'll tell you now, like, what things are most popular. If I click on trending, I have to imagine, number one right now is technology, Instagram and Facebook. So everybody's talking about Instagram and Facebook being down. Uh, but I don't see any official word as to what's going on. Facebook didn't release anything yet. Even everybody's getting in on it. Look at this. Burger King tweeted, when Instagram and Facebook are down, but you're not worried because you're eating a Whopper. You see how everybody's leveraging this? If you're not familiar with Wendy's on Twitter, like Wendy's has like one of the funniest Twitter accounts because they always coming at people. So here they are replying to Burger King. No need to worry. Not like things could get any worse than that. Mm, mm, mm. Not like things can get any worse than eating a Whopper. They are a trip. Yeah, I had to see what do we got over here? Somebody else just joined us. The real question is what's really happening in the shadows and behind the scenes. Yeah, that's what I want to know. Gotta love censorship. Is that just a test for something down the road? You know, we were talking about this. So I just got off a meeting with a bunch of different entrepreneurs. We had a boot camp scheduled for today, and I'm part-time conspiracy theorist too. You do have to wonder though, like, is this Facebook trying to tell us what life is like without them? I don't know. Somebody brought that up though. There's this like, what's truly going on. But it's a powerful platform, and anytime you get to be the size of a platform like that, and have the kind of influence that you have, and the ability to have people instantly just kind of like message thousands and millions of people at a time, is going to put a target on your back, not only just from like government type stuff, but then also from hackers and that sort of thing. So I don't know that it was a hack. I thought maybe Facebook might release something, but they're just going to, of course, say that they're doing an investigation and not say exactly what it is. Right now, they're just saying that they're aware, but they're not really telling you what's going on. But I do wonder about that, what that means. I mean, if something really goes down, they can make it this easy so people can't share the truth. That's true. That's true. That's kind of like the risk we take when we get so dependent on this stuff. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I created this live just to come on here, one to just kind of update any business owners who follow Tech Talk Tuesday, clients of mine, um, just what's going on. So if you're wondering why you can't get on Instagram and all that good stuff, it's because Facebook is down. And I was trying to come on here and see if I can find something that tells why, but there ain't nothing official. But also just kind of stress the importance of making sure that you create other places for you to show up and for you to be able to reach out to people. So, if you had something scheduled today, like a Facebook Live or an event, and you can't do that now, hopefully you have everybody's email address and you make them go through a registration process. If you did do that, then at least you have people's email addresses and you can reach out to them to either let them know about a reschedule or, like I use YouTube as well as Facebook. So I go live in multiple places. But you at least be able to, if you need to, host that live on a Zoom or host it somewhere else. We know that, of course, this can happen to any platform. Like that's nothing, we're all vulnerable in some way, but Facebook's reach and the amount of stuff that they own is huge. Instagram, Messenger, and Facebook all being down at the same time. I'm curious if anybody had any impact to stuff they had planned today. See, anybody in the audience have any stuff that you can't do today because it's down? Any impact on your business from the Facebook outage? That's what I'm curious about. I'm gonna keep checking just to see if anything pops up. Let's see. I think we got a comment here. Carmen says, hours and hours went into the creation of my quarterly magazine. I had major plans to promote on Facebook. All is not lost because the email of the magazine went out bright and early. Yes, exactly. See, there you go. So that's a good point. Carmen had her magazine released today. And typically, because the community was built there, bewellforwomen.com, we would be going crazy posting on there. But luckily, we sent out an email to let everybody know about I think this was even before the outage, but, bring up a good point about it's good to have those alternative methods to be able to communicate with people in these times. You need to be able to have that. They don't want you to know. I know it's not going to be, it's probably going to end up being a government investigation to find out what's really going on. Nobody probably really knows what's going on. Let's see here. I've been slacking on my constant contact website. I'm about to turn it up. Yeah, like having outages like this, especially when that's your main way to be able to communicate with people, will make you take a pause for a moment and just kind of think about that. Creative Consulting Dreams. Hey, Beverly. Oh wow, this is great info. I was wondering what was happening. I also knew something major would happen that Facebook sooner or later, especially now, like the way that they've been up in the news and that whole whistleblower thing going on. And it is just a matter of time. Like that's why for the past few weeks on the Tech Talks, I've been really stressing the importance of making sure that we all protect ourselves as best as we can and create other places to show up. Because this can happen. I just have a feeling like you think about it, all these social media platforms have their run at some point, and at some point that run comes to an end. So like you need to make sure that you have some other stuff in place so that you can pivot around that when it happens. Let's see. Wendy said, I just have to redirect how I contact my clients. Okay. Back to phone calls and make that my primary form of contact. That's a good strategy. Hopefully, Wendy, too, you're for everybody that you're clients of yours or people that you're talking to, you have a way to be able to collect those email addresses, just so you have that as well, to kind of back up the phone contact. Which also reminds me too, what I usually recommend for people, anytime you are having any type of thing where people are registering, most forms will default to making sure you collect the email address. But Wendy brought up a good point about getting people's phone numbers too. And I've been thinking like, okay, I need to make sure when I do event registrations that I give that option for people to submit, because some people actually like text messages over email. You think about having the same email addresses over years and how much spam and stuff comes in there. Some people, for the stuff they truly want and want access to, like having the option of having that text option. So think about adding a field to your forms or your downloads whenever time you're doing any freebies or giveaways for people to download your ebook, any of that good stuff, your lead generation processes, your event registrations. Add a field on there to collect phone numbers, even if it's optional, because at least you then give people who prefer text or phone the option to give you their phone number so that you can do that. Carmen said exactly. Yep. We all are learning some valuable lessons today. Let's see. This is Beverly Brown. I was just trying to get some important messages and it was driving me. Yeah, everybody was doing that, thinking like, something wrong with my phone. Like I went to the app store. When I saw that Facebook and Instagram was down, I knew it had to be something bigger than just my phone or just my Wi-Fi. And that's what sent me over to Twitter to take a look to see what was going on. So yeah, I was trying to get some important messages and it was driving me nuts. It's not you. It is not you at all, Beverly. Let's see. Facebook had a good run. Okay, I'm done. Hey, this is your business too. We all here. I know you left Facebook already, so you got ahead of us. You off there. I know. So yeah, it's definitely had its run and it's had its time. I know for businesses, it's still for a lot of us a big part of what we do because it is a good way for us to be able to reach people. But use it for that, but just don't build your whole infrastructure on there. So many people are heavily, heavily dependent on Messenger as the primary way to contact their customers and communicate. Heavily dependent on there for your events. Heavily dependent on it for promotion of your business. So get them email addresses. Make sure you have the infrastructure to have people redirect it to an external digital front door. We were talking about infrastructure in our bootcamp today. And I talked to everybody about like, what are those alternative things? Having a website. A lot of people have gotten away from having websites because they like, oh, I don't need a website because I have a Facebook page. No, you need to have something that you have a little bit more control over. Is it on the news about Facebook being down? Haven't checked yet. Yes. I actually found out on Twitter. So, for me, Beverly, like when I need to find out news, Twitter is where I go. I was just sharing my screen. Twitter is the place that people typically go to kind of share real-time updates, to let people know what's going on. I just lighting things up. Exactly. Yep. Hey, that's a good way to use it because that's what we're doing. I was like, let me jump on here and just kind of talk a little bit. There might be people who haven't known yet, and Beverly just talked about not knowing what was going on. But yeah, Twitter is where I go to kind of get that stuff. So, any like natural disasters, when there's major storm type stuff, rather than going to these news sites because sometimes they're so late. What I like about Twitter is that Twitter actually, you can get updates from people who are actually in that element, so if there's a storm in a certain place and you want to know what's going on, you can actually see people from that area posting and really get, like an unfiltered view of what's going on, for the most part, because you can get stuff directly from people. So if you haven't used Twitter before, I have my account on there. There's a search button here, or you can go to Explore and you can kind of see they have a trending tab. So I just clicked on trending. Let's see here. It's users are reporting outages, which we know. Um, Facebook down. So about the hashtags on Instagram, or they use hashtags on Twitter too. So if you were to type in Facebook down, it's going to pull up all the different posts that are using that. So tons of people are talking about it, cracking jokes about it. I saw Instagram. Burger King and Wendy's was going in on it. Like everybody's kind of leveraging here. The memes are going to be going crazy today. Let's see. This is the funniest thing that happened since Instagram and Facebook are down. Hello, literally everyone. Yep. So I'm not the only one who just runs over to Twitter at the time. Twitter gets heavy, heavy traffic when Facebook and all that stuff goes down. What are they talking about? Everybody just trying to jump in on a trend. This is what happens though when stuff like that happens. People jump in on the trend. You can say what I'm doing is jumping in on a trend, jumping in here, starting the conversation. I wanted to come and find out if Facebook had any official word, but they're not saying much and probably won't say much. Let me go back here again and check. Their last post was 3 hours ago. Let's see what people are saying on here, if anything. I think it's mostly going to be memes. Some of these are funny. You know what I just thought about? Like, what a way to change the conversation about the whistleblower thing by being offline today. Because we ain't talking about the whistleblower stuff no more. Interesting. Let's see here. Let's see. RGC Vinyl. When I started my print shop 2 years ago, I started a local promotion campaign. Oh, let me turn this share off. And try to avoid Facebook, but I do web design, so website is key, but Facebook is really important. Yeah, I totally agree with you, RGC Vinyl. Facebook is important for me too. Like most of when I'm live and I do my live streams, most of the people, because think about it, Facebook had started as the place for us to connect with our friends and people that we know. So it's kind of like the main primary hub for people that you know. So it makes sense that most of us are, there and have like a lot of our users there. When they added business pages to it, it still kept us on the platform, but then it gave us that opportunity to bring our business to the platform and all that stuff kind of housed there. So I totally agree with you. It is a key part of a lot of people's business, and I think it's still good to use as long as it exists. And you want to just make sure that what I do want to highlight for people is like, remember that Facebook should just be like one tool in your toolbox. I see too many people building everything there, not having a website. So they not having that external place, not having email addresses because they have Messenger, not having some external event management tool to be able to promote their events and registration because they're using Facebook events, not doing YouTube and only having Facebook Live. So that's what I wanted to point out is just like, it's to make sure that you remember that it's just a part and it's not the whole thing. Those are the people I think are going to be struggling the most. And wanted to just kind of shine some light on that. But you're absolutely right. It is really important for businesses. For most of us, it's like the primary advertising tool because it gives you access not only to advertise on Facebook, but then also to advertise on Instagram, which is, really, I'm not gonna say it has more followers, but it's hot. Instagram Reels and all that stuff, and TikTok and all that good stuff. So it's hot. Creative Consulting Dream said, I'm not sure how many believe in the spiritual side, but I do believe this is a spiritual move of God, and we all need to be in prayer for what the transition is causing. We are always going to be in that. You're right. Yeah, I feel you and I hear you on that. Let's see. IG is good tool for reaching out to other local businesses, but I hate IG too. It's bittersweet. I feel like all these platforms end up going like that way. Like I like IG for the visual part. So like sometimes I actually feel like IG is not as inundated as Facebook. Like sometimes I just like I want to take in some content, but I don't want to take on everything that's in Facebook. So I'll choose Instagram. But I started Instagram because of the visual part. I liked the photo part, saying things visually, showing behind the scenes. When they launched the DM part, everybody started doing that. But lately, I don't know if you've noticed this, RGC, but lately I've been getting tons of like just spam inbox stuff. And I've been blocking people like crazy. I don't think I'm going to be able to keep up with all the blocking that I've been doing up in there, but I do it at least, to kind of keep that stuff away. I'm in Canada. It's down here too. Yep. Yep. Oh yeah, it's everywhere. That's how like this ain't just. At first I thought maybe it was just Facebook, and I'm like, okay, well, let me go to Instagram. Oh, Instagram's not working, and I'm like, okay, let me go Twitter and see what's going on. And I saw something about it could have been rumor. I don't know if it's real, but um, I tried to pull up their website, and when the domain didn't come up, like the domain is everything. Like it's much, much deeper than just the apps. Like that told me that there was a major, major issue. Carmen said, good point. Yep. That bust me trolling last. You one of them? People, it must work. It must work for people doing them DMs on Instagram. Oh, yesterday, I think it was Friday, I was thinking about it. I was like, I need to come up with something because don't get me wrong, like there have been some people who have DM'd me on Instagram in a very authentic way that led to a podcast interview or that led to me purchasing a product or a service. And I think partially because like I could see a picture. The way the message was written, like it seemed authentic. Of course, it could have been scammy, but it seemed authentic. So I'm like, if you're gonna do it, at least come across authentic when you can. But there's been tons of them spammy bots and stuff. Carmen agrees. Yep. But Beverly, the pandemic overall was just a whole wake up and kind of shake up for everybody to, just pause and take a moment to reevaluate things, to think about how you're doing things, and think about what works for you. So that led me to building when the pandemic happened and all these in-person events are shut down and all that stuff. A lot of people were trying to figure out like how to continue to run their business outside of an in-person format. So like you had personal trainers and fitness instructors, you had people who host in-person events who were not leveraging the internet before, all of a sudden having to, figure out the virtual experience of what they offer, during the pandemic. And it made a lot of people kind of like pause and think. But it led to a lot of ingenuity and people having to come up with new ideas and ways to do, their business. And I think it actually helped a lot of people. I have clients who now have a whole nother revenue stream attached to what they do because of that, because they were kind of forced to. But again, the diversification, making sure that you're not just totally dependent on one method, having the right infrastructure so that, in times when stuff goes down or you get blocked or your page get banned, you have alternative methods. I don't know how many of you know this, but years ago, there were people who invested so much money in building Facebook business pages and, they have all their audience there. And then Facebook switched over to the pay to play method, where if you wanted everybody who follows your page to see your messages, you had to then start paying for advertising. That changed a lot of stuff. And that was kind of like the first for entrepreneurs and business owners. That was one of the first big scares for a lot of people that make them be like, oh, hold up. Like, I can't just be totally dependent on this. Thanks for something. All things are spiritually entwined. Yes, perfect. Everything, entire world. You are exactly right. Another opportunity to take a pause, right? You don't have to be frantically figuring out how to make a reel today and all that stuff. You can think about some other aspects of your business and what's going on. So yeah, I can see quite a few people, this is having an impact on. Just again, the past couple months we've been talking about on Tech Talk Tuesday, just diversifying your marketing methods. So, my approach, and I can share this with you, I shared this with people who were in our workshop today. But, whenever I'm working with clients and I'm doing my boot camps, I'm always trying to make sure that people understand how all this stuff works together. I think that's one of the things that gets lost. We spend so much time focusing on, I got to post on social media, I got to show up, I got to go live, I got to do all this stuff. But it's important for you to understand where social media fits in the grand scheme of your marketing and how you show up online. Today's outage is a perfect example of why you need to understand how it works so that okay, because I'm missing this piece of the puzzle, I can focus on these other things, and I'm not totally just limited to that. So I want to just kind of show you something that we talked about in our boot camp today. So we have a tech support boot camp going on that I started with Carmen Ray from Be Well for Women, where we're talking about helping people who own businesses who are near retirement really just kind of understand how all this stuff plays together. And one of the things that I presented in there was kind of like my four foundational pieces of the puzzle that I think people need to order to make sure that they are spending their time on the right stuff. So, I talked about having these four different things in place. Infrastructure, being mindful about what your infrastructure is. Compelling content is number two. So, I'll talk about the relationship between these, a sales funnel and automation. So infrastructure is basically, when I started this talking about, Facebook is down. What other digital front doors do you have? When I think about infrastructure, I'm thinking about your website. I'm thinking about your, email list, how you get people through that gateway. I think about YouTube. That's a digital front door for me. There are people who discover, Tech Talk Tuesday and We Merge Media based on my YouTube platform. So if your infrastructure is totally based on only what Facebook offers or only what Instagram offers, and you don't have any of the stuff built outside of that, you're going to be great. You're going to be impacted heavily as opposed to somebody who has that alternative. So, I want to make sure that, when you're building infrastructure, that you're thinking about what are all the different digital front doors that I have? Which ways are people going to be coming into me? How are people going to discover whatever my content is to be able to get access to what it is that I offer? So, think about that when it comes to infrastructure. Compelling content is the videos, the images that you post, the articles that you write, and all that good stuff. Those things are meant, once you have that infrastructure, to be able to plant seeds out there so that people can find your information and find you because they're looking for something on a specific topic that you posted about. Or that they come across a video and kind of get introduced to you and they want to know more. So they go to that next step, which leads to the sales funnel. In the sales funnel, that's usually where you'll make sure that you are offering value. Typically you'll have people's email address. You'll create enough value or something of interest that people kind of take more interest in, and then they eventually become a customer because they found something that they like or they purchased something. And then after that, you have your system where you do your automation. And your automation is going to help you repeat that cycle for more people who come in. So we talked about this today, and Facebook falls into two places. It can fall into three places. It can fall into all four. So it can fall into infrastructure. So it could be part of your digital front door, one of the ways that people come into you. It's also a good place to be able to create that compelling content. So like every Tuesday, I'm going live doing Tech Talk Tuesday, talking to entrepreneurs about how they can use technology to work smarter and not harder in their business. It can be part of your sales funnel. So if you're running ads and you're doing lead generation ads, it may have an impact there. Same thing with Instagram, it falls into that. And they have a lot of automation built in there too. So, like it can fall into any of these depending on how you use them. Of course, if you're not running ads, then it may not necessarily be a sales funnel in the way that we describe sales funnel for you. But it could be the place where you do your compelling content and people discover you. So it's important to make sure you understand the role social media plays. I try to remind people to use social media as a way to get your information out there for people who are looking for it. There's billions and millions of people on these platforms. Insert yourself into those conversations and show up there so that people have access to you. That's the role of it. But if you are using it, your Facebook business page because you don't have a website and you don't have no alternative, that's not a good look if you're using Facebook for that. Or if Facebook is your only distribution point for compelling content, that's not a good look. And today is a perfect example of why that's not a good look. So I wanted to just kind of make sure we highlight that. We've been talking about that on Tech Talk Tuesday for the past couple months on that, and making sure that people have alternatives, just have some backups. Creative consulting dreams. The pandemic actually created a plethora of wealth besides the unfortunate deaths. It did because it kind of forced people to have to find new ways to interact with each other. Like we're still social people. It made a different thing for me. I launched bondtobuild.com because I wanted to create a place outside of the Facebook world for people to be able to plug into other entrepreneurs so that we can learn from each other, share our stories, learn from each other's experience. I do some classes online, so I host all my classes and stuff in there. But it created another revenue stream and another opportunity and another way for me to be able to connect with people. So you're absolutely right, Beverly. The pandemic did create a lot of wealth for people. It did that. Peace, chess checkers, and more. Hey, welcome. Awesome information. Thank you for tuning in and thank you for your comment. Appreciate that. We bought a sewing machine, started printing and sewing custom masks. Yeah, and made a killing the first year in the pandemic was a money maker. So, part of what I do as a graphic designer, like I had a lot of clients coming to me who were doing work and information campaigns to kind of educate people about COVID and vaccines, or if they were having in-person events and they were having COVID requirements, people had to wear masks. So it all of a sudden you saw these big companies like Vistaprint and like local printers having to like it was hard to find masks to even get to print on. The fact that you did the sewing machine route is smart. I started sewing custom masks, very smart. But those things were hot, and they still are. Honestly, people still are wearing them. People are doing the branded mask. You go into a store, think about all the employees who had to still work during that time, who were considered not urgent. What do they call that? Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you had to work, you had to wear a mask. So stores took that as an opportunity to kind of brand all their stuff. So yeah, that you're right. It did create an opportunity there. What else we got here? Creative Dreams. We opened 2 months before the first lockdown. Struggled the first 2 months with the lockdown. Business exploded. RGC. I'm glad you found a way to pivot around that. That's good. Oh, awesome. Thank you. Chess Checkers and More said the digital marketing foundation information is fantastic. Thank you. Yeah, I created that for this boot camp because a lot of times, like when you come into this and you're a business owner or if you're new, you just hear what everybody talks about. Everybody talks about, make sure you're on Facebook and go live and create Instagram reels. But like when you step back for a minute, it's like, why and what is this going to do for me? So I created that foundational system, those 4 foundational pieces that you need to help people get an idea about what that structure looks like and what role it plays. You don't have to necessarily invest the same amount of time in every one, but oftentimes people I see go strong and heavily on social media, and you're doing all this stuff to generate the likes, because they kind of set it up so that we're driven by the likes and the hearts and the shares. This is all good. But then on the back end, we don't have the infrastructure to benefit from all that traffic and activity that you generate. Now, who does benefit from it is the platform. The platform can then take that information of you bringing people to that platform, the activity that you generate on the platform, your time on that platform. They can go to large companies like a Pepsi or a Coke, and they can say, hey, we have like 10 billion people on our platform spending this much time doing this, searching these hashtags. So that us as the users on those platforms are the product. That's why they're free. So we are giving them all this extra added free value, the ability to take our information and go sell that information and aren't benefited from it. So, I'm definitely going to insert myself in the conversation and use it and get what I can out of it. But you need to make sure that when you're doing that, you have something on the back end to bring people into your infrastructure. How do you use social media to bring people into your ecosphere so that you can then continue that relationship with the people that you're connected to? Patrice Register, hey, welcome. Appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. I appreciate you for being here and jumping on with us. Let's see. Hope to sign up wonderful service as soon as possible. Yep. Month of November will be Media Financial Education Month. That's good. Taking some time to kind of educate. As entrepreneurs, stuff is always changing, especially when it comes to the marketing part. It's important that we keep ourselves, up to date about what's going on. You don't have to be an expert on everything, but you at least should have a good understanding about what your options are and know who to go to when you have questions or when you need something. So, on bondtobuild.com, we created the tech support bootcamp, and it says for baby boomers, just for anybody. Anybody can join if you want to get some foundational basic understanding of how the stuff works. I highly recommend you join us there. But it's good to have a good understanding. We have some people who are in the boot camp who are, they're retired and they're just like, look, I want to understand this. I don't necessarily plan on doing all of this. I might hire some things out, but how can you hire somebody out to do something for you if you don't understand what you need and you don't understand where the gap is? So the boot camp is a great way for you to be able to understand that, and we offer a number of different boot camps here. Awake Joy, our Bond to Build community is here. Bond to Build is definitely up and running. We are up and running. Yes. So if you're a member of bondtobuild.com, we're still going. You can still connect. We're running. We're up and operating. It allowed me to be able to show up there and kind of let everybody know that I'm here on YouTube today and showing up here. So awesome. I hope everybody is, good. Hoping that you haven't had any too strong of a negative impact to your business today. Diversify. That's what I want you to know. Just taking a look here. I wanted to see if anything came up at all. Don't see anything yet, though. Let's see. Of course, we're probably not going to get no official word about what happened. Carmen's in boot camp. She says she's really enjoying boot camp. Thank you. I'm glad you joined it. Carmen was her idea to do this boot camp and put something together because in her bewellforwomen.com community, there's like thousands of people, and a lot of them are either nearing retirement or, it's on their mind, and they're falling to the baby boomer generation. But technology it's changing all the time. Like if you didn't grow up on this stuff when you were young, it can be a lot to adapt to. So I really appreciate you, Carmen, for sharing the idea for us to do that together. And it's been good. We have people in there who are just like, happy to have it, just to be able to have someone to take the time to explain how all this stuff works. I think that's important. I put essential because I think essential, that's the one, the essential workers. Yes, if you're essential workers, those masks were critical. I think that word you're looking for. Thank you very much. That's what I was looking for. Thank you for speaking on this topic so timely. You're welcome. You're welcome. So important for you to make sure that you don't put all your eggs in one basket, because it's already a lot of stuff that's outside of our control. It's a lot of stuff outside of our control, but as a business owner, especially when your livelihood is dependent on it, you need to make sure you have some plan Bs. We talked about plan B, B in Bond to Build. One of our students in the boot camp said, "Oh, you got to let people know that like they need a plan B. They need Bond to Build as their plan B, as their backup space," which is cool. I was like, we definitely have to use that. That was Provider's Helper who shared that tip with us today. So yeah, I wanted to come in real quick. If you did not know, Facebook was down, Instagram's down, Messenger's down. So if you've been trying to get in contact with people, if that's your normal go-to, it's down. So it's not your phone, it's not your computer, it's not your Wi-Fi. They are down. Let's just take a look here. Today this is interesting. Is this really Facebook? There's something on here. Let me share this with you. I don't know if this is really Facebook or not. Let's see. Chrome tab. So there's a verified Facebook app. Because it's verified, I have to assume that it's really Facebook. Okay, want to hear something really cool? Today we're launching Reels. So they have Reels on Facebook in the US. Did I know that? I know they've been doing, yeah. So I did know that because I noticed when I was posting Reels on Instagram, it would ask me if I wanted to give permission for that to show on Facebook. And I said, yeah, because I was curious about it. But, okay. So what I did not know, oops, turn it down. I just noticed that there's a create button underneath the video. So apparently, of course, it had to just be a matter of time. You'll be able to create Reels on Facebook now as you do on Instagram. I saw that you can share them. Like, I see the place on there. I was watching the video today and I'm watching it and I'm just like, wait a minute. I clicked it and it was asking me to go over to Instagram. So I thought maybe you could only, watch Reels from there. But apparently you see that one there. Let me pause it. There's a create button here. So you can create Reels on Facebook now. Not at this moment, of course, because it's not working, but when it does, I'll have to play around with that. Do y'all want to see a tech talk on how to create Facebook Reels? Is that something that I should put on our schedule to do? Let me know. Put in the comments and let me know if that's something that we can do, and we can do that. I started using Reels recently. Um, my plan B is sitting in a crypto. Hey, mine too. I got me a couple crypto wallets I'm playing around with. I got some. Um, I'm using a few of them to test them out, but some Bitcoin, of course. You are welcome. Collaboration, yeah, thank you. Yep, collaboration is a new currency. That's Carmen saying. RGC, yes, crypto. I like crypto. I thought about talking about crypto on another channel. Not from the aspect because I'm not a trader or none of that stuff, but I just feel like there's people who are totally unaware of what it is and what role it plays. So I just really want to kind of do some like basic introduction, educational stuff about what I know about it so far. Not to tell you what to buy or nothing like that, but just basic stuff because sometimes everybody